2 months ago, if you told me I'd find myself back here, I'd call you a damn fool. No way I get sick of Yu-Gi-Oh! That fast. Grand Creators is about to come out. Huh. Well, life's got a weird way of catching up to you. We're here. Now let's get digging.
Good evening, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-minute testing. Whoa, don't leave! Okay, I know this isn't TCG, but hear me out. With YCS Charlotte coming up, and the Speed Duel GX box dropping literally in 3 days, I am going to make a pitch to you to please consider Speed Duel. The format's going to be thrown into disarray momentarily, so it's a great time to pick it up. You can win some disproportionately large prizes at events, and there's no adventure. You'd be a fool to discount Konami's second best format. Anyway, any response to Parasite Paranoid or... If you're unfamiliar with Speed Duel, here's a quick primer. 3 monster and back row zones, 20 to 30 card decks, preset card pool, no main phase 2, hero powers. Same as Duel Links. Today we're going to be looking at 3 decks that are already putting up results in preliminary tournaments. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the pack opening website that everyone uses for their progression series, but you might have missed it's also got a deck builder, a card database, and a wealth of strategy articles. I personally use it to post the Chalice Eye monthly deck breakdowns, so give it a look at www.ygoprodeck.com. First up is Cyber Angel. Sorry, just snapped back to 2017 there for a second. Alexis's notoriously not once-per-turn monsters are in the GX box, but thankfully Konami learned from the first truly Tier 0 formats in Duel Links, there is no Dakini here. Instead, the boss of choice is Cyber Angel Izana, which instead of sending monsters to the graveyard sends spell traps. Now that's still extremely impressive, especially given how powerful back row is in this format, and I shouldn't have to tell anyone who sat through Drytron just how oppressive Ben 10 can be. Cyber Angel lists have already been topping post-GX box events, so keep an eye on these for the next little bit. Let's just do a quick card by card. We've got DD Warrior Lady. This card's fantastic for things that the deck has trouble outing. 3 copies of Senju of the Thousand Hands. Sonic Bird is legal in this format as well, but you don't really need access to the ritual spell because of your skill. 3 Benten, which on Tribute allows you to add a fairy from deck to hand. 3 Idaten, which on Tribute gives your ritual monsters 1000 attack and defense, and when summoned allows you to add a ritual spell from your graveyard back to your hand. 3 copies of Izana, which sends a spell trap your opponent controls to the graveyard and can attack twice. 2 Book of Moon, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, and 3 Machine Angel Ritual. For the skill, we are playing Ritual Ceremony, which came in the previous BCB box. So, let's check it out. Our match is up against Ojama. Now, you might think that Ojama is extremely powerful, given that Ojama King is legal and we only have 3 zones to work with, but like Duel Links, a lot has to go right for you to actually pick up any games with it. We've been given the play, and this is usually a pretty bad position to be in. Decks in speed duels really prefer to go second, and while we would like to attack, this is a great example of how the effect of Izana can net you some free wins just because of its specific interactions with other cards and skills in the format. So we're going to begin with a copy of Senju of the Thousand Hands to get an Izana to hand. From here, we will reveal the Izana with Ritual Ceremony in order to add from deck to hand a copy of Machine Angel Ritual. We'll fire off the Machine Angel Ritual, sending this Benten to graveyard to summon the Itaden, like we're actually playing Drytron. We'll trigger the effect of the Itaden and the Benten to get another Izana to hand, and to get the Machine Angel Ritual back into our grip. From here, we can use a Machine Angel Ritual to send this Izana to the graveyard to summon Izana, and unfortunately, because this Land of the Ojamas is treated as a field spell, it will now go to the graveyard. We'll trigger the effect, it'll go to grave, and our opponent is suddenly without attackers. They will go to main phase 1 and fire off a Polymerization to make Ojama Knight. This does wall our board. We've got a copy of Izana, but that's our only attacker, and it's got the same attack points as Ojama Knight has defense. That said, any Cyber Angel off the top will win us the game, and Ben 10 is probably the best one. We'll go for Machine Angel Ritual, tributing the Itaden to trigger its graveyard effect and increase the attack of all of my ritual monsters by 1000. That puts the Ben 10 at 28, and she will attack, then trigger her effect to deal 25 to my opponent, the original defense of the monster that she destroyed. From here, the Cyber Angel Izana can easily clean up the rest of my opponent's life points, and we will walk away with the W. Next up is Dragoon. Sorry, just snap back to 2020 that time. Maybe we should call this deck Destiny Hero Fusion. Yep, right, that's 2022. Let's go with Destiny and Dragoon. This one's pretty straightforward. They wanted to put some sick Aster Phoenix stuff in here, but the Destiny heroes are either unplayable, like Captain Tenacious, or busted out the ass, like all the new ones. This means the Destiny End Dragoon is as good as we're going to get for a boss. And as bosses go, he's decent, but DPE he's not. Let's just do a quick card by card for this as well. This is a pretty standard Allure of Darkness deck. We've got Destiny Hero Dogma and Destiny Hero Plasma, and we need to find one of each, so we are loading up on Dark Monsters to facilitate that. The best Dark Monsters in the format are, of course, Sphere Karibo, Breaker the Magical Warrior, and one copy of Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. When it comes up, it'll really come up. Finally, we've got 3 copies of Book of Moon and 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. We're playing this with the skill Fusion Party, which means you do not have to play Polymerization whatsoever. Of course, this is a skill from the last box as well. In the extra, we've got 3 Destiny End Dragoon, but we've also got 3 Destiny Hero Dangerous, which does come up. Let's check out a game. Our match is up against Skull Servants, and this is a bit of a weird one. On one hand, you'd think that this is an auto win. King of the Skull Servants seems like a card that is made to be popped by exactly Destiny and Dragoon, but Skull Servants has been very popular and decently powerful for a long time, and the reason why is that it's flexible. Under the surface, there are a ton of cards that really complicate the math against a deck like Dragoon Turbo. Things like Haunted Shrine and Zombina really punish a deck that has a lack of aggro capabilities like ours, which routinely locks us out of the battle phase. Moreover, we can easily give our opponent long chains of summonable zombies and enough time to find cards like Book of Life, which can prevent our Dragoon from even reanimating. Thankfully, our grip is insane. We're going to begin with a copy of Cosmic Cyclone, banishing this Wall of Disruption in case it was a Floodgate Trap Hole. Go for the Fusion Party, send both halves of Dragoon to the graveyard, which we were lucky enough to open, and then fire off the Destiny and Dragoon effect on our opponent's set monster. They were unlucky enough to draw one of the Skull Servants, thank the Lord, and they're going to take no damage because of Destiny and Dragoon's effect. We're going to go ahead and fire off this Allure of Darkness because I fear neither man nor God, and we are rewarded a Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer and a Breaker the Magical Warrior. Why would I banish Kaiku here? Banishing is so good in this matchup. No big deal. Our opponent's going to draw for turn, and exactly what I feared, they're going to fire another Skull Servant to the graveyard with Servants of the Fallen King before setting a Zombina, and here's where Destiny and Dragoon becomes a huge liability. We'll draw for turn, it's a Book of Moon. We're going to fire the Destiny and Dragoon, they'll pop the Zombina, and then they'll summon from graveyard a copy of Skull Servant I can't even destroy until next turn. We're going to normal summon a copy of Breaker the Magical Warrior, and we'll go for the back row. It is a Haunted Shrine, which has effects in the graveyard. Oh my goodness. We'll pass back to our opponent, and things are about to get crusty. They're going to go ahead and activate Book of Life to bring back this copy of Zombina from the graveyard and banish one of our Destiny heroes. We now have 1 Reanimate remaining on Dragoon before setting a card that will inevitably search a copy of King of the Skull Servants. Okay, things are going to get bad. Breaker the Magical Warrior is a really good draw. We want any sort of offensive pressure we can muster. We're going to go for the Zombina, and they are going to neglect to activate the effect because they want us to run into the Goblin Zombie. Afterwards, we're going to attack into it, and well, it is what it is. Unfortunately, this King of the Skull Servants is going to be a 3,000 attack point one, but I'm not too worried. I've got the Book of Moon, and we can definitely get rid of it over the course of a couple of turns. We'll pass back to our opponent, who draws off the top a Cosmic Cyclone, and of course they snipe the Book of Moon. Okay, we're going to have to actually play this game anyway. They're going to normal summon a copy of King of the Skull Servants. Now, this trades very interestingly with Destiny and Dragoon. They can walk into the Dragoon and then reanimate this King of the Skull Servants to clear another monster off our board, but we will get the Dragoon back on our next standby phase by banishing the last remaining Destiny hero in our graveyard. After that, we're going to be able to dome them for the attack of the King of the Skull Servants because Destiny and Dragoon cares about the attack of the monster on the field. We're going to banish the Dogma and bring back this copy of Destiny and Dragoon. I guess just activate the effect to dome them for 2 and then pass back to our opponent. They draw off the top another King of the Skull Servants. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, well, that is back to 3,000. We do not have any other way to protect our Dragoon, so we are going to have to fire off this Book of Moon to set it to defense position. Now, we can pop this with the Dragoon, which I suppose is probably a waste. I would prefer if my opponent was willing to banish a whole bunch of Skull Servants from the graveyard, so if they draw another King off the top, it can't contest the Dragoon, but unfortunately for us, they say, forget about it, we're going to play to our outs. And thank the Lord they do not draw them. Finally, call up Pyramid because we are looking at Ratbox. Almost no deck has benefited more from the new GX cards than Ratbox. Giant Rat finally translates into removal by way of Exploder Dragon. Warrior Lady is a catch-all tool for monsters the deck previously struggled with, and new battle traps like Wall push it into unfair territory. Finally, the best boy living Bastion has a skill that pairs perfectly with this mostly monotype monstrosity. One more card by card. We've got 2 copies of DD Warrior Lady, 2 copies of Exploder Dragon, which is kind of a removal spell, 3 copies of Giant Rat, 1 copy of Newdoria, 2 copies of Zombina. This card produces an unbelievable chain of monsters alongside rats specifically, 2 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole, much better after the erratas, 2 copies of Haunted Shrine to bring back Zombina, 2 copies of Nightmare Wheel, which can both make an opponent's monster useless and occasionally masquerade as a win condition, 2 copies of Wall of Disruption, and 2 Zoma the Spirit. In the extra, we've got Energizing Elements, which can pump your Earth monsters to 19s. Let's check out a game. Our match is up against Spellproof Armor, the deck that literally will not die. Bandit Keith, stop normal summoning Colossalus, challenge, impossible. We're going second, which is just where we want to be, and our hand is looking pretty good. Giant Rat and a couple of traps is perfect. Our Bastion skill back is a little unimpressive, but I'm sure they'll scan in something for it soon. Our opponent's going to reveal Spellproof Armor, and they always have it, huh? All right, they're going to pass back to us, and let's see what we can do here. Haunted Shrine is a great pickup. We're going to begin with a Giant Rat. We will set 3 and pass back to our opponent. They'll draw for turn. They're going to normal summon a copy of Ally of Justice Core Destroyer. This is a fantastic tech because under Spellproof Armor, it can't be impacted by spell cards, and it resists exactly DD Warrior Lady. They're going to attack into our Giant Rat, and we're going to go for a Zombina here. They'll pass back to us, and things are looking good. We'll set another Zombina and activate Energizing Elements. We're going to pump our Zombina. It does less damage to our opponent, but I'm trying to play around exactly the back row that they have in Skill Successor. They're going to go ahead and take 350 here, and then afterwards they will activate a Summoner's Art and summon another Colossalus. Oh boy! Okay, they'll attack into the Zombina. That's fine. We can use her effect in order to reanimate a Giant Rat from the graveyard, or we can flip up a Wall of Disruption to potentially dome our opponent for a ton of damage. Both of their monsters are going to be decreased by 1,600. They're going to take 700 here and pass back to us, and I mean, we can almost go for lethal here. We're going to set this copy of Nightmare Wheel. It's going to be good for reach, I think. We'll flip up this Zombina and go to the battle phase. We'll attack in. Our opponent's going to Skill Successor, so they take less damage here. Also, Skill Successor's Graveyard effect potentially might actually get something over. Then we're going to attack directly for 14. They'll take the entirety of it. And then Special Side Draw, normal Jinzo. That's a very frustrating position to be in as the Giant Rat player. All of your interaction is trap cards. That said, we have the out in our hand, so I can't be too mad about it. They'll attack into the Zombina. We are going to summon from the graveyard this copy of Giant Rat back, and then draw the second Exploder Dragon, adding insult to injury for turn. A quick scoop from our opponent, and we have done it. So that's that. I hope you'll give speed duels a try. There is a vibrant community on Discord and a DB ranked ladder if you want to give stuff a whirl when the box releases. If not, thanks for letting the ads play.